Are you ready for some good news? Christ came to bring a radically new covenant that is radically better than the old. Here's today's text for 2 Corinthians 3:14. But their minds were hardened, for to this day when they read the old covenant, that same veil remains unlifted, because only through Christ is it taken away. Archaeology shows that peoples throughout history have sought an agreement with a higher power for protection and blessing. The Old Testament records the story of the covenant that God made with Israel, by which Israel would be the treasured possession of the one true God. The same narrative also tells of the recurring failure of God's people to keep their side of the covenant. Their continued violation of God's law and their recurring idolatry led to their eventual exile. But God could not forget His people. For century upon century, sacrifice after sacrifice, God's wrath was poured out on innocent animals instead of the guilty people. And He promised His beloved that a better way was to come. The new way was most famously forecast by the prophet Jeremiah, who in Jeremiah chapter 31 said, "Behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not like the covenant that I made with their fathers on the day when I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, my covenant that they broke, though I was their husband, declares the Lord. But this is the covenant that I'll make with the house of Israel. After those days, declares the Lord, I will put my law within them, and I'll write it on their hearts." What would be so new about this new covenant? The old covenant was between God and the people of Israel. If the people would obey, God promised they would be blessed. There were covenant promises made, blood shed, and a sacred meal was shared. The new covenant also contains covenantal promises, shed blood, and a shared meal. But the new covenant isn't between the people and God. It is between the perfect Israelite Jesus and the Father. If the Son obeyed the Father, then the blessing would be poured out upon anyone and everyone who received the Son. The efficacy of the new covenant promises does not depend upon my righteousness or yours. The power of the new covenant depends upon the righteousness of Jesus Christ. Thus, you're blessed with every spiritual blessing in Christ. You're in relationship with God because a new covenant was made and kept on your behalf in Christ. And that's the gospel. Well, that's today's daily devotional. If you want to learn more about how the new covenant is unveiled in Christ, go get the whole message. It's free at sharingthelight.org.